Happy weekend. Happy episode 15. It's the Markets Podcast. It's that time again. Let's go.
Oh my.
A lot to discuss on a week that, hey, guess what? All stocks went up again. That never happens. We were discussing this time last week the simple fact that we had a negative week.
Right. That didn't last for too long.
That didn't last too long because, wow, Nvidia happened. We were talking
about... Oh, is that what we reported this week? I was wondering what we were going to discuss here today.
I mean, there was
Nvidia.
There was one, I think, that was bigger than the rest.
You know, I destroyed a couple Nvidia shorts today.
Yeah, we'll talk about... I want to actually talk about that because the price action was a little bit concerning, I think. But let's start with this real quick. Here are a few weekly charts.
Oh, my.
The market continues to just march higher. That's the SPY, so the S&P. As we said, there was a red candle in there very briefly on the weekly chart, but it was short-lived to say the least, and it was all because of the NASDAQ. A little bit of relative weakness here, even though we did gap down to start the week for the NASDAQ, right back to the upside, though, by the end of everything. Real quick, the Dow, maybe the most impressive, dare I say, on a weekly time frame.
The Dow?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in a row.
And guess what? The Dow gets.
Yeah, I know. There's
a new constituent.
There's a new member joining said
And you
Dow.
think Amazon's going to have anything to say about the Dow going down anymore?
God, no.
No, probably.
I mean, Jeff Bezos is doing his best to maybe prevent it from going up as much as it has been. But
yeah. You know, we always get that story. We talked about with, you know, when would Jensen maybe start selling some Nvidia shares, but it looks like Bezos selling into highs.
Yeah.
I think that's a smart move.
$6 billion he's
How
pocketed.
old is Jeff Bezos anyways? Like, it's about time. I know we talked about it. His yacht has a yacht, and his dog has a yacht, and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, enjoy your life, man.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want to talk about with this market, and it's something that maybe we don't talk about enough, and it's this. And I did a little bit of research here because, you know, that's what I do. No, this is 52-week highs. So, stocks above their 200-day average. Okay, so right now you're at 72%, right? So as you can see here, the problem with this is this has been a pretty nice top if we go all the way back into the, you know, this is 21, this is March of 23, then we have the summer where we saw that huge move to the downside right there. So I'm just a little worried, Brendan, that maybe the market's getting a little bit overheated, and at some point, we talked about this the last podcast where we had the crazy PE in the market. Obviously, that's coming back in a little bit now as companies report and build into their PE. But is this a warning sign right here that potentially we're getting a little high on the 200-day moving averages? We saw PanW bounce clean off theirs. They're now above it again. But we've had such a major run from October that it does make sense that a lot of these stocks are above their 200-day moving average. We do the podcast, Brendan, because, well, we like it. But the other thing is, too, is like, sometimes I feel that we're being a little bit too negative. Like, I've been selling some Nvidia. But the problem is that we've seen this before. And it's just there's so many traders that this might be their first time in the market.
Yeah.
You know, some traders that were maybe around from meme days. They opened up a Robinhood account, and they might have just put some money into an Apple or an Nvidia per se, something like that, and they think it's going to moon.
Yeah.
I think it has mooned.
Yeah.
And maybe you mentioned that there could be some warning signs. We'll get into some of those. Fed doesn't look like they're cutting anytime soon. And now we have this kind of stat where we're looking at a little bit higher highs here on this 200-day moving average.
I mean, the Fed doesn't look like they're cutting soon, but the market also doesn't care at this point because
why should they?
We just keep steamrolling to the upside. I'm going to show you another graphic here, and I'm going to let Fabian just ran away, but his shot needs to be adjusted there,
You
guys.
went to go get Ramin a iced mochaccino.
This is also quite telling. Anything iced at this point would be fantastic in here. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit.
You not feel like it got a little bit cooler in the afternoon in here?
Yeah, because I told Randy to turn it off of heat and put the air conditioning back on. For some reason, this thing was on heat. It was 26 degrees Celsius in this office.
I know. I ran over there. I was like, down, 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 down. But I didn't realize
it wasn't even doing anything.
All
right, 281 trading days since the last 2% plus one-day gain.
Let's read that again.
So 281 trading days since the last 2% plus one. Shout out to Bespoke, by the way.
Really?
a crazy, crazy stat.
My eyes.
So you got to go all the way back to the middle of 2017.
Right.
Was the last time that happened.
Really?
Insane. Sharif and I were having a conversation.
That can't be right.
Sharif and I were having a conversation about the downside. It felt like it had been a long time since we had a 3% kind of a day downside.
That was 2%.
And that was
that stat, or was it
2% plus gain?
2017 on the S&P?
According
No,
to
I mean, bespoke is what they are. Does that seem?
But it just shows you, and you and I were talking about this before we came on here. You know, it just shows you that volatility is not even a thing at this point, which is typical for a market that's just crawling higher.
Was it UVXY? Yeah, I mean, you know, we don't have. I mean, look at the UVXY here. This is the Ultra VIX. I mean, you know, yeah, there's no love at all for this right here. Obviously, back in October when we were at those bottoms, this name was, and again, this is an Ultra ETF. So, but $20, UVXY now down to 7. Obviously, the split adjusted there. I'm gonna have to try to find something that looks a little bit better than that. But honestly, this could be a buy down here, Brendan. I feel like I've never done this. Ooh, I like this picture-in-picture. That's nice, Ramin. I've never bought a protection against positions. Have you? I hear Neil sometimes talk about like upside calls or puts and trying to capture some of that. I've never done that. I'm wondering if it's time to do that.
It's starting to make some sense.
Here, because they say that the VIX, whenever it's down near 12 and 13, is historically where you want to buy it, sell it up there at 20 again, and we're at those levels right now. So yeah, I think it's worth it, but I don't. Tesla had such. So I was actually talking with Max about this, and I was like, how much further does Nvidia have to go?
Shout out to Max.
Shout out to Max, yeah.
Lambo.
Yeah, where's that Lambo? You know, I think he's gassing it up out there. Or did he get the new electric? No, I think, yeah. Anyways, now I forget what I was saying.
Did you say that?
Oh, what I was getting at was like, Tesla had such an epic run back in the day. Then it split again. And then it just kept on going and going and going until eventually it didn't. So I'm wondering if Nvidia has that juice in it where just nobody wants to short it besides me, and we'll see what happens here moving forward. But we have more to go. This market's in a euphoric state. I think it's whenever you get that and people don't know where the top is, sometimes it's time to buy some protection.
I completely agree, and it's also the time where you don't want to start picking tops or trying to say, okay, I'm selling. Yeah, you don't have to be the smartest guy. Trust me, it gets very frustrating if you do that, because a week later, it'll be 10% higher and you'll have nothing.
I actually found this Tesla chart, and this is why I'm trying to sell some NVIDIA. If we come over here right now, this is where it was. And I know there's COVID and all that kind of stuff, but even if we go away from COVID, this is March of 2020, right? But like, even if you go back here to 19, like Tesla was $17 back here in October, right? This is before COVID and all that stuff. It started ramping up. Tesla, October of 19, it was $17. Then by the time COVID hit, we were at $56. So that's a triple. And that was only in about 4 or 5 months. Then obviously March happened, and then we know what's happened with COVID. But COVID, that story's over, right? Let's just say right here, look at this move up, 148, all the way to 300, back down into 190 again, then all the way up to 400. So it's just like, as we get going, you know, NVIDIA, just like Tesla was kind of the only player in town. Sure, we knew other people were building that up, but NVIDIA, they have such a huge moat around them with that 77% margin that I just think that they have way more room to go to the upside. And you've seen an AMD pull back. AMD, Brendan's not even at its high.
No.
But yet we can't control. But today NVIDIA hit all-time highs.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of love for NVIDIA. I think fade the others. Neil's been talking about Intel as sort of a shot play for the long. I like your play selling Rivian. And I don't believe in any chip name at these levels other than NVIDIA. If that's a hot take, it's a hot take, but I would only be going long NVIDIA at these levels. I would SMCI downside, AMD downside. You come at the king, you're going to get burned. We've seen it with Tesla before. NVIDIA continues to work despite me taking $50 short today.
That's not bad.
It was all right.
Okay. We'll talk about EV stuff coming up, but I mean, I sat here a few weeks back and said, Rivian breaks 15, I'm done. So I was done in a hurry.
You did good on that, man. I mean, wow, you did good.
I did not do good.
No, but I mean, listening to your rules.
No,
I'm
it was
very bad at that.
it was just it was I think it was 13 was my fill or something like that. So like there was no liquidity in the after hours.
Oh,
which
like-
is, yeah, like on earnings day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's actually pretty brave getting that out, because we've seen so many times, especially the last couple earnings, where like Square went down to 65
Yeah.
immediately. So
Yeah.
you would have got triggered. Like,
yeah, and look where this thing is now.
and now it's at 80 today, 81.
No, or Rivian's like.
Rivian, the same thing.
$10 or
Rivian is a great call, man. I actually bought some Rivian down there at 11.25, and some people were asking me. And honestly, I know we keep talking about it, but I just think it's something. We have that second car
Yeah.
coming, or that.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
Okay.
Let's touch on Amazon here, because as we alluded to, we get the announcement that it's going to replace Walgreens in the Dow, which is pretty impressive. In that,
Boots Alliance.
as
What does
we
that
said,
mean, Boots Alliance? Walgreens Boots Alliance.
It's always been such a weird.
I have to just Google this. I have to look that
It's
up.
a drugstore. Anyway,
I'm going to ask Gemini.
Jeff Bezos, $6 billion in his pocket now in share sales so far this year.
His pocket, that stuff falls out of his pocket. He doesn't even recognize that that's what happened.
Just keeps on walking.
You know, I go there, like my wife is like, what? You just spent $30 at Loblaws, which is a grocery store? I'm like, what? Jeff Bezos is like, oh, I just got filled on a sell. All right, $6 billion.
All right,
That's
cool.
not so bad.
Let's buy another year.
Right there. Like I get like Disney, ooh, $100 dividend. I'm like, not bad, you know? But yeah, it's about time. I mean, Walgreens, they actually cut their dividend, and Walgreens has been a very, very bad stock as of late. I mean, look at all of this, man, the pilferage and all that kind of stuff, and it hasn't been a good, we don't have it here, but just reading some of those stories, look at this on a weekly chart. Talk about just
That's a weekly chart. Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is a well-held, and so not only this, Brendan, this is what Walgreens is doing, and the Dow is at all-time highs. And this was one of 30 names. So it goes to show you the strength of investing possibly in ETFs and not stock picking. But Walgreens just continues to get destroyed. They cut their dividend. It got hammered down. I think it was right here, their last earnings report, $25 all the way into 20. Just continues, I keep forgetting this is a weekly chart, just continues to get beat up. So that's what Walgreens looks like. This is what Amazon looks like. And I say it's about time. Amazon's still not at their highs. That was another name that I still feel like has a way to go. But because Walmart winds up splitting, it's less of a percentage, so they're a little bit underweight. So they throw out the unperforming stock in Walgreens Boots Alliance and add Amazon. However, here, how about this, Brendan? I talked about brunch versus dinner. I'm gonna take a sip.
I still say both.
Yeah, me too. That was a quick one. I have more questions for you. I'm not going to ask you one now.
Okay.
But what I want to say is, do you think Amazon should go in as a retail? I mean, their AWS is so monstrous.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they're doing with AI.
Yeah.
And then obviously we know they also have, there's a few other AI. It's not, they're invested in a couple, and they've invested in Rivian and a few
I
other.
mean, the cloud in general.
The cloud is huge. So I just wonder if that's like, maybe we're not comparing apples to apples.
My answer is no, but I think it will, because that's
I mean, their retail
typically how
I had something
the Dow rolls when it comes to additions and deletions. They put I forget what it was, but there was a couple of years ago where there was something. It might have been the financial space.
Right. Okay.
That everyone was saying, why on earth is this in finance? I can't remember. Anyway. Yeah,
well, Carvana, one that always reminds me that's really funny, the biggest weighting in the XRT is Carvana. That's the retail ETF. Can you believe that?
Speaking of
Abercrombie, ANF, wow.
You showed that chart the other day on the live show, and by the way, come join us every day if you are seeing this.
That's wild. Look, I mean, here's
We're
the
on
weekly
YouTube
chart.
every single day. The market is.
What is going on? Why don't we include this? Look at ANF. I mean, I know my boy Fabian over there loves shopping at Abercrombie, but no, they're saying no. Yeah, see?
Oh, okay, so one for one. I still say it's that crazy cologne when you're walking through the mall.
Yeah.
And they just like blast it out the door.
I'm not sure it's still at Sherway. I thought they might have got rid of.
I haven't been to the mall in years.
Oh, it's there? Oh, but you don't shop there. It means she knows immediately if it's there at Sherway or not. But this chart is nuts, man. $23.
Is there a short interest on that? There must be.
Let me look it up. Right now, ANF.
It feels squeezy.
Yes, sir. Good.
Yeah, a little bit.
12 and a half.
A little bit. It's
a short. Now I'm going to put an RSI up on this because that has to be absolutely ridiculous. No, there was, what I was looking for and I didn't find it, was Amazon, their retail, they sold more than like all of the other companies combined, just their last quarter, like more revenue than Walmart, like A&F probably, Target, them all combined. And Amazon was just like, meh, meh. And that was not even including AWS or anything like that, just their retail. And I'm drinking, oh, you know what I'm drinking now, actually? This is good for you. You probably know about this because you're a health freak, apparently.
I'm not.
Daily Greens. It's like a powder you get.
That AG1 stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, Brent doesn't know anything. He just calls out the exact name of it.
Yeah. Let me guess, you saw it on a podcast somewhere?
No, actually, shout out to my wife.
I mean, if they want to come on our podcast, I'm totally...
My wife, who is an amazing social media person, you know, I'm sure you know that, Brendan. She actually got... AG1 approached her.
Right.
She was doing some stuff, and they sent us a whole bunch of stuff. The stuff tastes actually pretty good, and you get all that kind of stuff in there. So I just got a delivery from Amazon, so that's why I brought that up. But anyways,
cool.
All right, what else do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about NASDAQ.
Oh, everybody leave comments because last week we said that we wanted to, exactly. So put in the comment section questions. And we didn't get any questions. Someone asked us who's running Trader TV Live.
No one.
Nobody is. As you can see, it's run by the inmates. The next part is someone else asked us something about how can they get hired or something like that. And it's just go to realtrading.com.
There was a lot of very nice comments. And
the comments
thank
were
you all,
very, very
all
humbling.
for those. But yeah, leave some questions. We'd love to answer those for you. I want to show the NASDAQ because this is kind of interesting. Again, shout out to Bespoke. Great follow on X if you have not already. This is showing the NASDAQ composite percent change after the launch of major tech platforms. So I thought this was kind of interesting because I was actually expecting this one to be more significant than apparently it is.
Okay.
So this is, but it makes sense because it's only Microsoft that it's affecting. And even at that, it's very, very small.
Hold on a second. ChatGPT is only affecting Microsoft?
In a direct matter, yes, right? Because Microsoft is the only one that has the ownership percent in OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. I get where you're going with
could have a fight here.
With the chips aspect to this, but I'm specifically pointing to the fact that ChatGPT on its own,
I get it.
You know, is how they came up with this number. But yeah, Netscape and AOL.
Did you?
Account for, you know, if you come back to this mark, essentially, in time, it's around 50%. So a 50% move, AOL was less, but Netscape and ChatGPT basically in the same neighborhood when it comes to percent change for the overall NASDAQ, which I thought was kind of cool.
What was that? I keep saying that I feel like Google Maps and all that kind of stuff has really made a big difference. What was the maps that we used to, MapQuest? Was it Maps?
Yes,
We used to have to download the maps and print them off and all that kind of stuff. So whenever I see Netscape, I always think like, wow, like whatever happened there, man.
I think MapQuest was actually its own like desktop application. It was
one of the first apps. Maybe?
I think so.
We'll have to look that up. Remember when Al Gore invented the internet? That was really that was really cool. I feel like we don't have that on.
What an idea that
What about Al Gore inventing the internet?
What effect did that have on the NASDAQ?
So what I was going to say is I feel like right now maybe it hasn't had as much of an effect as those other big releases because now we sort of understand where monetization's coming from. Back then it was more like, oh my God, what is this going to lead to? And I just feel that now earnings are absolutely out of this world. And AI is the next big thing, but I feel like you mentioned, isolated with a few names. And when Netscape came and Al Gore and the internet was invented and so on and so forth, it just really created a world of unknown. And whenever that happens, it does scare people that are short, wondering what's coming next, what's the next thing. I mean, Netscape obviously brought Internet Explorer. Like, you know what else I was wondering? Like, what about that first release of the Apple computer, or Windows? Something like that as much.
Way back,
Then we got to go into the 80s and even earlier than that, where obviously the market. But yeah, right now the market has I'm actually pretty happy with the breadth of the market. And I was going to talk about that because financials are at highs right now. JP Morgan's at all-time highs. Some of these tech names are still at all-time highs and continuing to go. There's other names that are out there that continue to struggle. Some of those meme stocks that were really hot back in the day, a Peloton, an AMC, a GameStop, all that back down to the downside. Will those days return? I think we're getting close to having some blowout possible names like a Fisker. We saw that move at the end of the day. 50% short float now. Carvana, 50% short float. Is that Reddit crowd sort of sharpening their knives? And the thing about this is also with that Reddit IPO, I mean, I kind of feel like it's going to be good for us, man. I feel it's going to be great for trading. But yeah, just going back to your ChatGPT and the introduction of new technologies, I think we're here for quite interesting next 6 to 8 months, let alone the Fed and elections.
Oh, right, that's happening this year as well, if you hadn't heard. Do you not think the Redditors out there, is that what they're called? I don't know.
Yes.
They don't run up their own stock? Because
so I thought that with Robinhood would happen to the downside, but Robinhood spiked early.
Initially, yeah. Did you hear it's a limited release? It's only 10%.
You're not, only 10%?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So, and now everybody's taking the ARM way.
That's what, yeah. Which means they have the ability down the road to just drop offerings.
Brendan, if that day that SoftBank, honestly.
It's coming, I'm telling you.
Whatever that day is, sticky note is already done. It's already at the top.
Sell ARM hard.
Short ARM. No, are you buying Reddit? I'm not.
No.
I'm not buying any. Like, I know Etsy's been doing well, Pinterest. Like, I mean, again, depends on what day you look at these names. I really just want to buy blue chip stuff. I'm getting too old to worry about
ETFs.
this.
Yeah, I said the very same thing to Sharif today. You know, like
Sharif's getting really old, but
you said, I mean, he's way older than we are.
Very much.
Way older.
That guy needs to.
I said to him today, though, if you buy the best companies and buy ETFs, your life becomes.
Sharif's getting so old he should go to the gym.
A little bit more. And look after himself a little bit.
He should, He should not eat 100 eggs a day.
But your life becomes so much less stressful. When you stop buying crap that just goes down every day.
Yes. It's like I put like $1,000 into Rivian, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But then Pan W falls down, and I'm just like, okay, like, where's the checkbook? And now I'm just like, all right, I don't know.
I'm the same. All right, let's go to one of the biggest events that happened this week, if you missed it. Oh, yeah, NVIDIA reported. I don't even know what to say about this anymore. Like, it's just any adjective that you could come up with for what NVIDIA's daily chart is starting to look like is just, it doesn't even apply anymore. The gaps, the continuation, it went from 700 to 800 in 3 days.
I mean, what do you think about it? What is the, like, I shorted it all day, man. We waited for that 820, we shorted it. We shorted it again through 800. We shorted it at the end of the day, and they all paid off. But I think you could have made money long as well.
22.1 billion.
I was just looking there. PE
in revenue.
Oh, I know. I wrote this all down. But the thing is that so there's no short float at all right now. It's over just about 1%. The number that I was looking at here, it was 516. So they're forward 24, 516 in earnings versus 464. Like, so they even blow out the guide forward, and they always guide ahead, and then they just, every quarter, they're blowing it out. The one thing that I thought was a little bit of a worry spot, and I wrote this down because sometimes it gets missed when we talk about only the good things. I don't know, their CFO Kress there said that their higher-end GPUs, I think it's the BN100 or something like that, whatever the codes are there. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe tell me. But just said that there could be in short supply.
Obviously.
Moving forward. But no, but listen to this though. What, you think it's a bad thing?
Yes.
Supply. Okay. But why is it in short supply?
Because there's unlimited demand for some reason at this point.
So the thing is,
I think that's the bigger question, though.
I almost feel like that's a sandbag. They're probably not in short supply. It's just the demand is so huge.
Right.
That they're like, well, you know, we might not be able to meet. Like, they're not saying they will not be able to meet demand. They're just saying, we're a little short on supply.
Yeah.
But you know what that reminds me of? When you go into Best Buy, Brendan, and it's a Black Friday deal or something like that, and it's like, oh man, you know, like this TV is like $3,000, it's on sale for $1,000. And the guy goes, well, this is the last one on the wall.
Yeah.
So if you don't get it now, then, you know, Neil's gonna come in and buy it, and then it's gone. but then you're like, oh, okay. And then you buy that TV, then the guy goes in the back, gets another one and puts it on the wall and tells the same thing to Fabian.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's that, which makes me scared that NVIDIA has more upside.
It's crazy to think.
Because like, if they're warning us that, hey, potentially there are gonna be supply issues, and then it's like, here's another word, psych. We talked about this last week, if that's even news anymore. Or JK, is that what they do nowadays? You know, I just feel like that could be a little bit of an undercover there, so they cover themselves. They say, okay, if there's supply issues, oh, by the way, we kind of slipped that in.
Buy them now.
We said that there was a problem, but now there's not. Or if the stock does fall and potentially there is a problem, then they could say, remember, we told you so. But look at this stat here. We talked about this a couple podcasts ago. Remember Meta set the record for the largest single day gain in market cap history?
No longer.
That didn't take long. That took 20 days.
Show the screen, Remy.
I have it up here.
Yeah.
That took 20 days.
Yeah.
So there's Meta, Feb 2nd, 197. And NVIDIA's like, that's cool. 230, like they didn't even, it wasn't even close. And again, it's the market that's doing this. It's not NVIDIA. They just report the numbers. They beat everywhere. But look at all these big numbers. NVIDIA, Meta, Apple, Amazon, NVIDIA again, Apple, Microsoft. I mean, this is where the money is. This is where all the big money is. This is where the big investment houses are. This is where the real trading is happening. They're huge into ETFs, so it's absolutely no surprise that no one wants to get caught short when good news is released. And it's all the big names. Just what a difference. You know, you go back to the 80s and the 90s, maybe it would have been energy stocks leading the way on these kind of moves, right? But now the market cap is so huge and these moves are so outsized now, like a 10% move basically sets a record. So we're just gonna have to keep watching that. And I just say that sometimes when there's such euphoria, we had stocks like Sun Microsystems, stocks like JDS Uniphase. A lot of the older traders that are watching this, like myself, will know about those days. WorldCom, things like that, where stocks just went absolutely haywire. And everybody thought that, hey, JDS Uniphase was putting all this, not pipelines, anyways, lines throughout the world to telecom, the whole world. All of a sudden they realized they could do it on one line. Right. Sun Microsystems had all these servers out. You know, then all of a sudden chips and all that brought servers back in. So what's going to happen now to SMCI and stocks like this? That's what we worry about.
Yeah, we had Intel and SMCI on the list here as well, but both are, I mean, insignificant, I think, to this. And just to put this in perspective, and when I say this, I mean this number, 22.1 billion in revenue in the quarter for NVIDIA. I just looked it up. BAC, Bank of America, 10.3 billion Q4. JP Morgan, 39 billion in Q4.
Revenues.
Yeah. So like, NVIDIA is
not even that huge.
NVIDIA is in the realm.
It was 20, 22.
Like Bank of America was 10.3.
Yeah.
JP Morgan's 39. NVIDIA sitting at 22.1 billion in revenue for the quarter. So like this,
not even that impressive.
That's the thing. Like there's so much more. Like go look at Amazon as well.
You want to talk about Chinese names soon?
Sure, go for it.
You know what Alibaba's revenue was?
I do not. A lot.
Screen. 260 for the quarter. I want to talk about Chinese names because honestly, I've written this down. Some of these names over there in China, we talked about Temu and all this kind of stuff happening with PDD.
Yeah, bad luck today.
I was looking, pardon me?
Bad look today.
Oh, bad look. I thought you said you added it today.
No.
Oh, you're buying some PDD, okay. But I've recently bought some Alibaba. They got a 25 billion share buyback. I think that's pretty huge, right? $25 billion buyback.
Go to that graphic, Ramin, so people can have a look.
I just want people to know.
For anyone listening, this is just a breakdown.
Yeah, just a breakdown. And the thing is like, this net profit is 10.7 billion.
Net.
Yeah, for the quarter. Like, it's a 4% margin. It's not huge. That's fine. They're Amazon. They sell stuff, very small. They ship it to you, no problem. Next day, I'm not in China, I don't know, but 10.7 billion. I mean, this is impressive. The problem with Alibaba is, as we go over to this chart here, and we can look at a weekly chart since we have it up, I mean, it's getting killed. there's bad looks in China. Nvidia is more than the whole Chinese stock market, the Hang Seng, as a market cap. They continue to get beat up. When will they get some love in some of these Chinese names? I mean, I'm gonna go to a daily chart here because it has bounced back a little bit. And I think people are always looking for relative strength and weakness. If you're a little bit concerned about some of these other names running a bit hot, I could see some money coming out of some of these high flyers and into some more value names. Dare I say Alibaba is one of those. I'm gonna find the P for everybody in a second. I think it's worth buying, but again, you got to trust the PRC, and that's a very, very hard thing to do. And I just, you know, they could surprise you one day with a monster number. I think it's great for a trade. We've talked about that. We built out the Nike idea a little while ago, and I said, imagine if China can get that sorted out. Nike's only up 6% from that call, but not bad. We'll see what happens here with Alibaba. I like that name as a Chinese play. And hey, Charlie Munger, I forget, is it Trian? There's another hedge fund and holding that has a huge position in Alibaba. I like it. It's too bad that there's no activist. You can't be an activist on the board or anything there. I don't know if that even exists in China. You might get beheaded if you try to do something like that. Shout out to my Chinese friends. But I really feel like Alibaba, there would be something happening if this was a US-based stock.
100%. And that's the key. It's the location and the geographical issues that come along with it, unfortunately, for all of those. I mean, PDD, JD.com, all of those are in the same boat and will be going forward, unfortunately. Let's keep going here because we have a lot to discuss. This happened this week as well. It's a non-event as far as the market is concerned. The latest meeting minutes for the Fed come out. We learn a little bit more, essentially, that they're still kind of both with one foot in the door and one foot out the door when it comes to rate cuts. A lot more hawkish comments then come through from Fed officials throughout the week this week, suggesting that we're not there yet, and there's still some concerning data points. That being said, if you remember way back on, I think it was Tuesday morning, we got Canadian CPI with a 2 handle on the front of it.
Great, we were celebrating that.
For the first time in
But they're not doing anything with rates,
but they don't.
The US does.
No, exactly. But it's good to see that we're finally seeing, you know, a movement in the right direction. The concerning part about our report was it's still just energy, and we had an additional energy tax slapped on our gas prices. I think it was the first of the month.
Did you say it was like 9 cents extra or something?
So the gas prices are not going down.
That's already happened?
I think so. Yeah. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I have to double check that.
But gas prices are not going down. It's 150. I saw 2 days ago it was 150 again.
Remember that stupid saying like there's only a few things certain in life and it's like death and taxes? Well,
but the point was it was just energy that
right.
was
And that there was shelter. I thought was a problem.
Yeah, it was a little bit better,
Maybe
but still higher than I think they want. So yes, it's a 2 handle, but I think there's more work to do. If you go to the Fed funds tool,
right, I was going to call that up. Doesn't it go out to June?
This is June.
June, that's what it is.
So we're here now. I mean, there's better part of, we looked at this with Frank going back to earlier in the week, and it was 80%. If you combine all 3 of these, it was 80% in favor of a cut. We're back to, you know, 60 and change here, 65.
What is the percentage for a cut? It's 45%? What is that number there?
Well, this is 52.6.
Oh, that it goes down
plus 11.6 plus essentially.
Okay, so you're just adding them all up.
Yeah, so I mean, anything that's not what we are right now.
I would just love the Fed to cut more than a quarter. I feel like that might. I know.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. I don't think they could do anything to energy, right? I mean, energy prices just continue to be what they are, and then we have. And they're not supposed to watch the stock market, so.
But cue this.
Yeah.
We're still on, but cue this, and we're still on, this is the market. This is the S&P 500.
Oh.
And we're still with, you know, 3.5%, 4% interest rates, and the market just goes up.
Well, the thing is that, you know, the Fed pivot already happened. We talked, they've already announced it. We don't actually need to have
it's priced in.
The cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's priced in. So I actually thought, Brendan, that when they were talking about, I think it must have been the last meeting, where they were extending it out and it wasn't going to happen in March. And then some people were predicting November. I thought the market would have taken that as a pretty decent negative.
Nope.
13 of the last 15 weeks up in the NASDAQ, and the S&P, the Dow Jones. So you know what? I'd love to talk more about this, honestly, but I just feel that I'm seeing how, I mean, there's still a lack of inventory. I feel like around Toronto. I don't know if there's more condos going up around you. I like for sale, pre-built ones. I know they're building a lot of new condos and they seem to be selling those. On my drive in every single day, there's new buildings being made everywhere. But I'm not seeing like a flood of real estate hitting the market, despite these mortgage rates still being ridiculously high. So Fed's not doing much to control shelter. They already can't do anything to control energy. Can they control money supply? Obviously, that's what they do. We'll see if they continue to hold the overnight rate at these high levels, or if they actually do something in June. What do you think they're going to do in June? I think they're going to hold.
I mean, there's a lot to come between
I'll take the 40% of that 60%.
Even a hold, I think, is going to be bearish. But how can they cut? I don't see how they can cut when there's still, 3+% GDP in the U.S. Employment numbers on a monthly basis in the U.S. continue to beat on the upside every single month.
Yep, it's amazing. And then they revise it even better.
The prior months, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we'll see. But I think...
Are you ready for...
The broader point here is we were sitting here in January saying, the cut's coming, the cut's coming, the cut's coming. Right. Get ready to buy, get ready to buy, get ready to buy. You could have bought anyways, and hey, guess what? There still hasn't been a cut.
Brendan, remember the first 3 days in January where we were like, oh yeah. It's coming down, baby. Yeah. Let's buy those dips. And then January 4th happened, and that was the dip, and that was it. So we had 2 or 3 down days where everyone thought, okay, here, new year, let's see what happens. And then at that point, we were talking about it, and we both said, let's just keep buying the same stuff. Yeah. I think everything's going to continue to work. A little disappointed in Apple.
I bought more this week.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Yeah, it's that whole, can you sleep at night?
Yeah.
And Apple's not going anywhere, man. Okay, I have a would you rather.
Okay, go.
You have to answer this, though. All right. Would you rather get stuck in an elevator with Cathie Wood or Warren Buffett? Food for thought, my guy.
Need the Jeopardy music. Cathie Wood or Warren Buffett? I mean, Warren, obviously.
I would say Cathie, actually.
Really?
Yeah, man. You know why?
With the history, though?
No, because
the knowledge?
I just feel like, no, Warren Buffett would be great.
Yeah.
I just it's stuck in an elevator, have dinner with, whatever. It's like, sure, the stories, all that would be kind of cool. I think it's well written, his history, what he believes in, his methodologies. I'm not, other than say I had dinner with him, I feel like that would be awesome. I think it's a higher, but I just think I think she was calling for a dinner date there. Oh, there's Warren as well. Okay, can we get them both live? So I don't know if you guys, people listening, we just had Warren Buffett and Cathie Wood call. So at least we know they're watching a pod. It's funny that they're watching a podcast that's being taped and not live anywhere, but yet they know how to phone in. They must have a direct tap to Trader TV Live.
I don't know. They're watching.
No, but I just think Cathie Wood, some pretty neat ideas there with the gene therapy, and then like to hear her talk about crypto, like to hear her talk about Tesla, because honestly, I don't feel like, other than stuff that I already know, because we're all disciples of Warren to some extent. You just talked about buying, you just bought Apple.
Exactly.
So what's Warren Buffett going to tell you? Oh, you bought Apple. Okay, well, it's not quite at my 900 million share level yet. But no, so I thought that. Okay, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I just thought that some of those newer ideas would be kind of cool. So I would choose Cathie Wood.
I was in, fun fact, I was in St. Pete's, going back to not this Christmas, but the prior. And we did a whole walk around. It was under construction at the time, but we did a whole walk around.
Isn't that where ARC is?
They just moved there.
Right.
And she's building this giant innovation, quote unquote, innovation center in St. Pete's in Florida. And it's, Sean, it's massive.
Yeah.
But clearly she's
doing. You know whose money they're using?
Well, we don't own it yet, but I mean, whoever's buying the stock and paying this management fee, because it's an entire city block.
Sick.
That they're building this.
I guess real estate's not too expensive down there in St. Pete's.
Clearly. And
what about the well?
No tax either.
What about the well in Toronto?
Have you been?
No.
Well, it's really cool.
Yeah, my son and wife went to that. I think it's called Arcadia or something. That's there. It's like just a really immersive kind of experience. They said it was absolutely awesome. And my son goes, he wants to live at the well.
There is a.
That's an innovation center type of thing, isn't it?
It's like an outdoor mall.
Right.
Actually.
Right.
It has, I think, the world's smallest outdoor skating
rink.
It's
Yes.
a postage stamp.
Yes.
You take like one,
That's fun.
what do you call it, stroke?
So are we moving to
Hold on.
stride?
The stride, yes. And you're at the other side. I don't play
Yes.
hockey. I don't have
Yeah,
a clue.
stroke is fine.
Have a stroke on the ice rink and then come back to the other side.
Okay, another question. All right,
Shoot.
Bitcoin's going nuts, man. Me and you talked about this.
Shout out to the well.
Shout out to the well as well, sponsor. Hold
On that, there's both retail and
Residential.
There's residential and commercial real estate in that building. Shopify, I read,
beside.
took 3 floors
Right, I heard
in that new property.
Yeah, buddy.
They own that entire. There's also a giant building on Wellington down there that is all Shopify.
You know, whenever I this reminds me of something. Whenever I watch those, you ever seen a show called My Lottery Dream Home or something like that? It's on like HGTV.
Never.
Anyways, it's people that win. Yeah, that's good. Doesn't matter. They basically win a lottery.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty self-explanatory.
And then it's gone in a year.
No. Well, yeah, no, but this is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
You almost sort of buried the lead there. So what I was getting at is they win this lottery like $1 million, but it's a lottery, they've won it, right? And so I feel like the show it's not like the super rich getting richer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the average Joe that wins a lottery. And I just feel that actually buying real estate, I feel like if I ever won the lottery and I won like $5 million or something like that, I would actually buy like a $3 or $4 million house. And the reason why is I feel like it's easy to blow money on stupid things. On stupid things. I just threw my pen. I didn't throw it, I actually dropped it. And I'm always really happy when they spend a majority of their winnings
On a house.
on a house.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's, at least I'm only speaking, and I know that real estate has crashed in the United States a couple times. And I feel that this might be a GTA, which
The
is
market here is
Greater Toronto
very
area,
different.
is very, very well
Yeah.
off for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I like that as an investment. Okay, this goes to this about Bitcoin. Well, by the way, we had a great take last week on Bitcoin, where I was talking about it dropping from 47.48 into 38.39, and then now it's back all the way up. Here's another would you rather. Would you rather have more regulations, Brendo, in the crypto market for stability, or less regulation, which may encourage faster and quicker growth?
Or
This is a would you rather.
I don't care.
Really?
I don't care.
Because you own some Bitcoin. What I'm thinking is
Not enough to care. I'll be honest.
Okay, so Brendan doesn't care.
Apparently, Fabian
what do you
has
do?
so much Bitcoin that he
does.
is very angry about.
Remember we had Lucas that was here, and he
had 2?
yeah, he was building
3?
I don't know what it was, but he was building a Bitcoin. I was like, do you have one? He's like, no, I have more than one. That's when Bitcoin was like 16, 17,
Yeah.
like maybe 20,000.
Yeah.
Now 50,000. I mean, individual, and it's no surprise that a guy like Fabian, who was about 3 years
12,
younger than me,
13?
14? Loves Bitcoin. No, because I think it's the new fintechy solution
Definitely.
to men, and it's not, but that's what it's kind of growing into be. And I even get questions from parents and people through hockey and baseball and everyday stuff, always asking about Bitcoin. It's just such an interesting thing. So the question was, more regulation for stability. We've had Kevin O'Leary on before talking about this, or less regulation for faster growth. I would always choose less regulation.
Exactly. And anybody who wants it to go up,
Right,
will say the same thing.
every time they sit there and they talk about Bitcoin, and it's like, it just goes around in circles.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, how do you regulate something that was invented for basically non-regulation?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of people burned in some of the shit coins. So I know we get, I look at Brendan because
They are what they are.
the thing is that sometimes,
They are what they are.
shout out to Bears versus Bulls, but like sometimes on the real show, I'm like, oh man, this POS or whatever. And then I get messages from Brendan and from Bears versus Bulls like, hey man, there was like 1 or 2 complaints that you said the S word. And then so I have to always clarify with Brendan about saying it on a podcast. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls and everybody out there.
We did not coin that phrase, just for the record. I think that the argument is starting to be made, and or maybe a better way to phrase this is, the Bitcoin enthusiasts
Right.
and investors are starting to win the argument for the investment side of it versus just a crazy trading instrument on a day-to-day basis.
It's just like these stocks go down, like stocks fall way faster than crypto, I feel like, no? Like, I almost feel like Bitcoin's been super
Rivian's chart.
stable. Yeah, so stable. I don't know. I am really getting bullish on Bitcoin, man. Honestly.
Think the only thing that I have a problem with, and I've had this problem right from the beginning, and I've been wrong, I'll say that right out of the gate. No, I have been. Okay. And that is, it seems the only way it goes up is if new money comes in. Because if you get to a point where you have
not much trading,
where you have what you want of it,
you sit on.
The only way it's going to go up is if more new money continues to come in. Am I wrong?
But that's.
I mean,
okay, so why does Nvidia go up? Because more money's coming in.
I mean,
I just feel like it's
no, but
an
I think you can make the argument that there's more institutional side money in equities, specifically chips related, whatever you want to pick, that may be bringing money from other assets into that stock.
For sure. I mean, that's the whole point about trying to buy either Ethereum or Bitcoin versus some of those other coins, right? And it's almost like.
And like I said, I've been wrong.
It's like Bitcoin is the SPY, basically, right?
Yeah. It's turning into it. Yeah.
Right, where it's just like, but look at this. I have a chart up of ETHE right now. You know, we get some story yesterday. I didn't really follow up on it, that CBOE filing. I'm not sure. It started to go yesterday. Ethereum cracked over 3,000. Look at the move that this has just had. This is a daily chart. This is ETHE. So this is the Grayscale product. Shout out to Jeff Mendel and OTC Markets, continuing to produce this solid product with Grayscale. Obviously, they lost GBTC. But this was $20, Brenda. What is that date here as I go? February 5th. So today is February 20-something, maybe? 23rd, thank you, Ramin. Oh yeah, date night for Ramin, of course she knows that. Right down there, so it's $20 all the way to 25, 20% in 2 weeks. You know?
It kind of feels like what happened to Bitcoin before.
And so what I was getting at is, to your point, and I think you're accurate on that, what's going to drive the reason why these things are gonna go up?
Yeah.
So I think the name you wanna look at now is Ethereum heading into possible, and it looks like they'll get approved if they approve the Bitcoin ETF.
And for anyone who's
10.8 billion so far in all those ETFs, by the way. So more money coming into that.
Inflows, yeah. And for anyone who's sitting here going, what the hell are they talking about? Anyone who has, or any of the companies that have an ETF for Bitcoin obviously have to hold the underlying. So there's all this buying that comes into Bitcoin first. Now we're suggesting the simple fact that Ethereum's going to follow suit.
Do not hold Coinbase. And I just see on the chat there, or on the screen, make sure that people like and subscribe.
Yes, please.
Because people listening to this won't be able to see that.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment, do all that, ask us questions, ask us would you rathers, stuff like that. So
let's go on to EVs here, because we're getting on in time. This is going to be completely contradicting itself, but it's an interesting stat. Way back when the EU wanted to go 50% all electric. As of 2024, they're almost there.
What does Ramin
I don't know what's happening over there, but I'm just going to ignore that.
I really like Ramin. I'm just going to put that out there.
Fabian's just all right.
Fabian's.
Yeah. Ramin's the best. But yeah, so the EU wanted to go 50% all electric. They're basically there. But then we get this stat going back to January, where EV registrations in Europe were off a cliff to the tune of 44% or something crazy. So yes, they're there, but all of a sudden, for some reason, people have stopped buying on the electric vehicle side of things. There's so many different angles we can take on this.
I know. Is there like an environmental reason to that? Like people are now cautious of like how these batteries are being built?
Or is it the simple fact that people are finally starting to realize that
not that
maybe they're not that great?
Reasonable.
It's
I was doing math like that, and I was thinking to myself, like, did I want to get a Tesla? We talked about maybe me getting into like a Model 3 or something cheaper. And it's just like, I feel like the difference that you pay between the combustion engines versus these new EVs, it's almost like I don't feel as much of a slave to the price of gas, because I feel like you're paying 10, maybe 15 grand more for an EV name that apparently now you're gonna have to replace batteries every 5-6 years as they degrade, things like that. That's starting to be a little bit of a cost there. I know maintenance costs are relatively non-existent for some of these EV spaces, but like if you can fill your car up and you're not driving overly a lot, which I think there is right now. Like I talked to my 22-year-old and he says, why in the world, and I think Fabian and Ramin might be similar. I know, traveling back and forth to work is one thing, but besides traveling back and forth to work, there isn't that much need really anymore to own your own vehicle.
No.
And because
Ubers are easier not to.
Ubers are getting reasonably priced. Then you have ride-sharing platforms as well, where you can basically just go to a parking lot, pick up a car, rent it for a day, something like that. Uber, right on their phone, and we talked about this last week, has car rentals. When I was telling my dad wanted to literally switch his vehicle just to go for a trip, and then so they have. So I don't know if vehicle sales in a whole are going to be a thing that we talk about as more and more people live in something like the well.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
when Kathy Wood is building this massive, basically society, as you were explaining, if you work there, you're probably getting to work relatively fast, whether or not it's in your Tesla, but then are you buying a new one?
But then that doesn't even account for when Tesla comes out with their army of Model 3 autonomous taxis that are just floating around all over the place.
But your story was the whole EV space as a whole.
On the sales side of things, and that alludes to the simple fact that there's all these reasons why, things are declining. But I mean,
the market goes in ebbs and flows, and if people are going to be hating on Tesla a little bit, I think it just whittles down to all the other names.
Sure. Two things on that. One is I have a family member who's in the car rental business. He was saying he picked up a Taycan and was driving it for a week. He drives insane amounts, but he had to stop. He doesn't have charging facilities at his residence. He doesn't have charging facilities at their business.
Is he in Canada or?
Yeah, in Toronto.
Okay, yeah.
So he was stopping at gas stations that have chargers to charge. He said the biggest pain in the ass was, the first thing was 45 minutes. You're sitting there waiting.
But why is he charging it? But that's to charge it the full way.
It was 80%, he was saying, from 10% to 80%. It was around 35 to 45 minutes. And it was $40 every time he did it. Yes, it's not cheaper to charge, to get a full charge at one of these charging stations.
Then maybe that is what's happening. Like I was saying, people are realizing maybe potentially that there is not that cost savings that you once thought there was.
Exactly.
$40.
It's crazy. There's two really interesting reviews that I'll suggest as well. One is from MKBHD. Actually, they're both from MKBHD. Shout out to him on YouTube. He got the Tesla solar roof on his house. He does a complete review of the entire product. Crazy. Really cool. But they have, part of it has the storage capability in his garage.
And you can resell it?
You know what he said is the biggest draw on the actual power supply on a daily basis?
The charging of his car.
Charging his Model S at night every single day. Took the most power out of.
Look, I have a family of 4, 3-bedroom house, finished basement, blah, 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 about 1 million things connected to the Wi-Fi. My electricity bill is like $112 a month.
And that's what he was saying too. Like it would cover appliances, heating, air conditioning, everything else, no problem.
It's ridiculous.
But as soon as you plug the car in, it was.
I mean, my dryer is gas, the stove is gas. So.
Right.
But for electricity, it's not super expensive anymore.
The other thing, while we're on EVs.
And by the way, the energy names. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to mention he had another review on the Fisker Ocean. Shout out to Randy.
I heard you say this. It was not doing anything.
The title of the video, I'm not even
Solar
kidding,
panels
is
do nothing.
the single worst vehicle I've ever reviewed, or something to that extent. Like really,
today was up 20%.
really bad. Yeah, really bad. Anyway.
No, what I was going to say, and also the energy, I feel like a rotation, energy has really been beat up a little bit. The energy space, I think there's some buys down there as XOM and CVX and all these, they just get so much more efficient. There's been M&A in the space. I like the XLE. I've been liking that for a very long time, and I like it even more today.
Yeah. I think there's still a huge argument to be made on the vehicle side of things for hybrids. They're making, Toyota specifically is making some models now that, like the mileage that they're quoting is, the new Prius is actually a really good looking car. But I was thinking even like I forget what it's called right now, but that little SUV that they make, And then they're also making the
CRV? Oh, that's Honda.
That's Honda, I think. But they're also making the small pickup. The high-end version of their small pickup is going to be a hybrid. It's already out, I think, 2024. But the mileage that they're quoting on these things is crazy, like absolutely crazy. And it's a pickup truck, and it's getting 8, 9 liters per 100 kilometers, kind of thing. It's a pickup truck.
Yeah.
So
these are getting much
there's
more
alternatives.
efficient.
There's alternatives.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at what's coming up next week, because we're getting to the end of
Ooh la la. We're already at earnings, guys.
Notable earnings.
Okay, notable.
We're getting to the end of notable earnings for this reporting season. So, boo.
Is it boo though?
I mean, it's the most exciting time of the year.
Is,
It comes 4 times a year, and then the market kind of does nothing for the in-between months. But
which one do you?
I mean, look, there's still Unity this week. There's Zoom. Cruise lines are coming. First Solar, Baidu. We just talked about Alibaba. Snowflake, CRM, Salesforce is coming. AMC, but like, is that even relevant anymore? Nope. I don't know.
I'd like to see, you know what, I would like to see Unity after close on Monday. They've recently cut a bunch of jobs. They're near the bottom, and that could be another play that, again, if Kathy wants to phone us back, she can do that. Another play right there as Unity could be in play. I mean, Unity, their engine from the gaming side of things. We saw recently Disney and Epic there with some Fortnite, and then what's the other game that Epic has? The car one where you drive around.
Grand Theft Auto.
Rocket League. Grand Theft Auto. Oh, by the way, Take Two is Grand Theft Auto. I feel like that's coming out in 26, though. That's a while away.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, but that could be a hot one. I like to look at Unity. Again, the thing about Unity is it does have a pretty monster short float. Actually, it's only 12% right now, so there's the Unity chart. I like that one into next week. We've talked about Roku. What a bad miss that was for them. Major move down. This was one that we were excited about heading into this current week, and man, did they miss. So, I mean, I'm glad that we at least identified that. For some options trades, you could probably get a lot of outsized moves coming through. I expect something to come from them. And then the one that I feel like, Salesforce. Salesforce comes out Wednesday after close. And this is another one that is bumping its head against their all-time highs again. As data becomes more and more important, Salesforce, I mean, obviously it's become more important. They have, what is it, Einstein, I believe, was their sort of iteration there. As more and more people move over to Copilot and really realize that, hey, AI can solve a lot of problems. Copilot is an internal sort of working, it will help you with some of the setups that you have with your mail, conferencing. It's everything. It's the whole Microsoft family. But so many people also, the same corporations and companies that are investing billions of dollars. I don't know if he got, what was that, 70 trillion? Was that investment they're looking for? But the same companies and the same CIOs, that are, of course it's not 70 trillion. That, I don't know, it's a crazy number, that are investing in Microsoft. Yeah. I feel like they're not, CRM and Salesforce, they're not being replaced by Copilot. So I feel that they can work together, and I think this could be a really, really big opportunity for Salesforce to break through this 300, take out this 310, and then we see what happens from there. But what a move on Salesforce. I mean, this is, again, a weekly chart, but you go back all the way back to October, 200 to 300, another big move up there. I really like Mark Benioff. I really like the team there. Let's see what happens with Salesforce.
It's impressive, man.
What are you looking forward to?
Beyond Me?
No, let's be serious. Which one? So there's Mara is also next week after close. Is Beyond Me reporting next week?
Yeah, I think so.
Looking forward to Budweiser.
I was joking. No, they have that. They have that. What was it? The healthier version of their ground, or maybe it's just.
Oh, it's only ground.
Beyond Meat in general. And if you
stop hating on Beyond Meat, Brendan.
If you read into it, it's like 20% less
sodium.
Sodium, and that was it. So that's helpful.
So it's already like 150% of your daily sodium intake in one burger, but now it's only going to be 130%.
I don't know.
So. Now, I'm not trying to hate it, but there's another one there with a 39% short float. Beyond Meat, Brendo.
Tuesday before the open.
Look at that, man. $6 to $8.
Heyo.
Why not? Why not? First mover advantage. I think some of these shots are. Is it okay?
Get your soy-based.
How about this,
fake
Brendo?
meat product today.
Beyond Meat or Rivian?
Rivian. I may revisit. I want to read more about what's coming on March 7th, and I may revisit.
The thing is, like, we're not the smartest people around, and I mean,
Wait,
you know, they will sell Rivian, I feel like, almost
on anything at this point.
Right?
Yeah, that report was bad.
Very,
very bad.
It actually goes back to something that I was thinking about before, and that is like, you know, kind of like, would you rather invest in a company that you really believe in, you know, like an Apple or something like that, or invest in a company that is just like, for example, if Fisker really gets going because of Reddit, is that not something that we should hop on board because the momentum is there? Even though we know that Fisker, you just said, is literally maybe the worst car ever. But if the momentum is there in the name.
Yeah. But you have to treat it as a trade.
Right.
Sure. Yes. Play it if you want.
Right.
But
You put it in a different basket.
It's not a let's buy this and hold it forever type of thing. A couple of notes as far as economic data next week. We get a reading on GDP on Wednesday. We get more inflation-related data Thursday with PCE. There's a long list of Fed speakers again for next week. So we'll bring that to you.
Roll them out, baby.
Join us on the live show, as we say every single day the market is open. We're live on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. With the second channel as well. Leave some comments, guys, on the second channel. Let us know how you like that, how it's going, if you want to see any changes, differences made. I feel like we did the full circle here. You have more if, then, that, or questions?
You want another one?
Please.
Really? Shit. I mean, shoot, I got to find it. Here. Okay. All right. All right. How about this? When you're making investment decisions,
yes,
would you rather trust your own research and gut feel about a stock, or
trust yours?
Trust mine. No. or trust the advice of so-called financial experts?
I mean, I think we have a bit of a
with air quotations if people
a cheat code in that we sit here and do this and live it, and we're immersed in this every single day.
So you would rather trust your own sort of.
For me, it's going to be yes, my opinion, definitely my money, my opinion. I would definitely say, for anyone else, no. You?
I'd rather honestly.
I know the answer, but you?
No, I was going to take the other side because.
Why? Sean, you sit here and talk about your trades all day, every day.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason why is because it's that whole thing about sometimes being a little bit too emotional with some of your decisions, I feel like.
Right.
And I just, it's more about the sell side than the buy side. So what I mean by that is like, I feel confident. I'm one of the worst traders over a long period of time, which is, and I'll tell you why. I sold Nvidia at 660, thinking it was too high. Then who just hit that fail? Fabian? Okay, we'll have words. Then I sold some yesterday, I think. Yeah, it wasn't today, at 780. So when I come in today and I see it at 820, you know, I wonder to myself, what in the world am I doing? And it's because sometimes, and it's very similar to the way I day trade, I'm trying not to mix up the buckets, right? Like, if I make a trade in Nvidia, and we saw that today, oh my God, it's $10 in the money. What do I do? What do I do? It's like, it's a very emotional decision. So I feel like sometimes if I'm buying something, I can look at a chart like that. Pan W was an instant buy at the 200 period. We're actually waiting for something like that to happen.
Yeah.
Those ones for me are easy.
I get what you're saying.
But then it's like when it goes from 260 or 270 where you bought it up to like 320, I kind of say, okay, we're all the way back to highs. Maybe it's time to sell. I sold DraftKings at 37 or 38, $43 today.
Here's what I'll say to this. What was your plan when you bought it?
Right.
Was it to, when Nvidia goes up 6 billion%?
No, it's about logging in and seeing like, what? Sell.
Yeah, but is that your plan?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's trusting your gut. Right, yes, thank you. That's what I was getting at. I have a problem. Thank you for that. No, but I think we don't make rational decisions sometimes when we use our gut.
Right.
Like we have that gut feel that, oh, this is a little bit too high, I'm going to sell. You know, and then you look back a couple of weeks later and you say, wait a second, like, why did I sell?
Yeah.
And I sort of think that if I took a step back and looked at, like,
but I feel like this
NVIDIA's numbers, their
Sean,
PE is...
we had this conversation like 3 weeks ago when I said I was never going to sell anything anymore.
Yes.
Because this happens. You always sell where you think, okay,
Right.
it's enough, I'm going to take a little bit off, and then you come back in a week and it's 10% higher. You come back in 2 weeks and it's 20% higher. And then you feel like a complete idiot. So that's why I just stopped. Just stop. Just say no.
Just say no.
Just say no to selling.
That's worked not many times in my life. But no, again, guys, thank you so much. What a great podcast. I mean, we nailed it again. Brendan,
Yeah.
at the end of every podcast, we do
Yes.
something called One Good Thing.
Stop, do we?
Podcast 15. Was it 20?
20. Yeah, we're
wow.
almost there.
Wow.
Almost there.
I thought it was maybe 30. I was going to say halfway there, baby.
Yeah,
Did you go outside today?
I did not.
My one good thing
Global warming.
is global warming. My one good thing is global warming and Al Gore with the internet. My one good thing is thank you for Al Gore. No, it was going to be. Now you're kind of thrown a wrench in this and made this kind of a gloomy thing here. Thank you for doing that. You know, as all the
Truth.
polar
Take it
bears
as-
die
take it
and
as it is.
all these things. No, but my one good thing is honestly, like I was walking around, I saw Josh out there. He's chilling out on a park bench. Saw a few other things chilling out on park. But, you know, I'm walking around. I'm doing those things on the walk and talks on Instagram, which are turning out
check
good.
those out.
And it's just like, I walk around and I'm just like, oh, wow. Like,
What is
sitting-
happening?
Yeah, we sit in here trading all day, and it's like just to go outside and get that breath of fresh air. Generally in February, it's a complete disaster around here. It's been real nice, man. I don't think I've worn my boots like one time. It's been an absolutely fantastic. So my one good thing is just getting out, going out for those walks, experiencing the weather right now because it can turn on a dime. And it can get cold and nasty
And
real
it will.
quick.
It will.
So make sure that you enjoy it. And again, thank you, Debbie Downer over there, for talking about
Polar
global
bears,
warming,
polar
which is
bears
very,
dying.
very important. I am honestly having young kids. I mean, you know, we always want the best, and it doesn't look like we're heading that way from the environment.
All right, quickly. I'm going to double down on something you said a couple of weeks ago, and that is, it was kind of funny. I put this on Instagram, and one of the first comments was,
I know what you're getting at.
those waffles must have been really
you know
good.
who the comment
and
was
it was
from?
like, no, it was like the first post in 2 years, and I was like, yes.
Did you know who made that comment?
I have no idea.
My wife.
Oh, okay, cool. Shout out to Marissa.
I mean, go to the comment.
No, I want to get rid of the name.
Oh, you're on
Ohiru Cafe. I wanted to mention Ohiru Cafe, College Street in Toronto.
Ohiru, is that
It's Japanese.
Ooh.
Insane.
Wasabi waffles.
Insane. No, they were, it was, here,
Don't steal that idea. If I see some people with wasabi waffles.
this was fried chicken.
Yes, it was, Brendan.
Oh my,
Oh, hell yeah.
it was insane. It was so good.
Japanese
Ohiru,
food is so hot fire.
Ohiru Cafe on College Street.
What is your favorite cuisine?
That's a great question. Wow.
Thank you, Brendan.
That is a
you know what?
great question.
The more questions I give and the more like would you rathers and back and forth like this, I really feel like maybe I shouldn't be a trader and I should be more of like a podcaster, host, speaker.
I gotta go old school, I think, with,
If you're gonna say Parisian?
yeah, like really, really well-made French cooking, yes. You?
What would your favorite dish be then from a French cuisine? I'm trying to think too. No, they
I'm
do
gonna
everything.
get one. No, I'm gonna get one, and that we'll talk about
bring
that
it back
next
next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. What about
I mean, if I don't say Italian, I get kicked out of the family. So I'm going to go with
you? I
Italian.
mean, Italian's amazing.
It's too easy.
Yeah, no, it's
No, but honestly, I was the reason I sparked that is, you know, Japanese seems to do everything right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like my kids are crushing the sushi. That is an absolutely great example about the fried chicken.
yeah, it's so good.
It's so good, man.
Remember Yushi here used to bring in that fried chicken from the
I think that
Japanese
was
place?
Korean.
Oh, was it Korean? You might be right. Even that was good too. All right.
Oh, what about that tetsu? Those cheesecakes.
Or the
Uncle Tetsu.
the pancakes, those like
Ooh,
crazy,
they're so good, man.
crazy
So good.
souffle
So much
pancakes.
good food
Shout out
happening.
to that. Let's wrap this up.
You know what has
Episode
not great
15
food?
in
Canadian.
The episode
What is it, Canadian? Like
15
roast beef?
in the bag.
All right.
It was great. Have a great
Yes.
weekend.
Have a good one. Like, subscribe, all that.
Do all the things. We'll see you on
Peace.
Monday on the live show. Enjoy your weekend.
Episode 15, wrap it. At some point.